Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Success Thursday this week with Madhuri Korapati. Hi, Madhuri. Welcome back.
Thank you, Vasco.
So if you haven't heard yesterday's episode on change, do go and listen to that. I think Madhuri has some awesome tips there in that episode, so be sure to listen to it. But now we dive into the retrospectives first. We'll talk about success later, but share with us first, Madhuri, what's your favorite retrospective format and why?
So I generally prefer different formats every time. I don't have one particular one which I want to use every time. The reason for this is before I was a Scrum Master, it's like when I see the same format of retrospective again and again, I used to feel, oh, bored. Again, I need to do the same thing, right? Like went well, not went well, or what are the actions? So I felt like it's boring after some time. So which made me think every time we should come up with something different, new format, so that team won't feel bored. And another way, they come to the retrospective feeling, oh, what's expected today? And what's going to happen? And what do we need to do? So that kind of the enthusiasm comes from the team, which helps to actually see the real issues, come up with it. So that's something I always feel having a different format is always helpful. But there are two or three things which I do as a Scrum Master if I go to a new team. There is one which is a truth and a lie. This is kind of a team building kind of a retrospective, which helps always because this helps me as a new person. And we write one truth about us and then three lies about us. And other team members need to kind of guess what is the truth and what is a lie. In this process, we kind of understand one another from the team members. It's this gives us a good understanding. It's a good team building exercise. And this gives me kind of idea about how the person is, so that how I need to work with them. And that gives me some sort of tips. Again, there is another one, which is a Candy Love retrospective. These ones we find in this fun retrospective. That's where I got this from. So in this fun retrospectives as well, it's the same thing. There are many, but some of this is about this Candy Love. Again, there are 7 or 8 questions in that one, which is kind of tells a bit more about us, what I like, what food I like. It's personal things.
But this is also a little bit more about diving into who we are working with, right?
Yes.
As you were explaining this, you mentioned that these are formats you prefer when you join a new team. And I think that's a great tip for our listeners as well. Have a couple of those that you use when you join a new team and you start to learn more about the team members. Also, as we talked about on Monday, when we talked about that internal conflict that no one was talking about, right? And this kind of, let's call them chemistry building. It's team building, of course, but it's it builds the chemistry between us and the team and between the team members. This chemistry building exercises really help to figure out, where is the chemistry working well and where it's not.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was one truth and a lie, and then the second one was
Candy Love.
All right, that's very good. We'll have to find a link for this to put them on the show notes so that people can easily find them. So, Madhuri, now we turn our attention to our role as Scrum Masters and why we do this in the first place, right? To be successful, to achieve a positive impact of our work in the organizations and teams we work with. So share with us, what do you consider success for yourself as a Scrum Master?
Okay, so as a Scrum Master definition, for me, definition of my success is happy, self-organized, continuous learning team. So if someone come in and ask me, tell me in one sentence, this is what I say. Happy, self-organized, continuous learning team, where teams work with one another, support others, mentor one another, and teams work towards one goal, which is a team goal, rather than having their individual goals. These are some of the examples which make me feel like I'm successful. Team are doing really good, and I supported them, and I feel proud to be part of that team and then be part of the change to reach that goal. And there are like many examples which I can give. We see day in and out, which we need to work on to reach to that stage. There are like some examples I say, like we observe like many things, especially like common thing is about emails. The worst thing is like sending an email to a person whom I'm sitting next to. It's like it's a just quick 1 minute thing. I can just turn and then talk. But rather than that, like we prefer to send an email. The reason for that, there are many reasons. One is like just buying time. They say reply it later and then I can act upon it later and then work on something different. And the other thing is lack of trust. We are not trusting it. I want to document everything, which is like lack of trust. It's clearly telling us observing these things help us to see, okay, there is something wrong. We need to fix that one. Sending an email is not a problem, but the reason behind sending it is the issue. And sometimes people send an email, which is a simple one, and then copying many managers, which is telling us they're kind of complaining it. It's like you observe there is a problem with the team member. The ideal thing you should be doing is part of your team, go and then help them to build that. If they're not listening, that's fine. Like we need to go into the next level. But you're kind of complaining and then showing yourself your best and someone or not is a problem. So these are the common things we observe, observing from it and supporting teams coming out of it, and then make sure they're collaborating well and working together rather than like following this process of having this some email, working collaboratively and working together as a team. That's one of the things. If I succeed, this is common one we see in many things. That's why I want to give this as an example. So coming out of it and then helping teams to collaborate more itself, I feel like we achieved at least 50% of a success.
So if I look at this list that you shared at first, right? Happy, self-organized, and continuous learning. I think one of the things, a couple of the things that you shared in the observations would definitely help about assessing the happiness of the team. I mean, not in all its fullness, but definitely there. And also the continuous learning part to some extent, not as much. But I'm missing the self-organized. So when you look at the teams that you work with and you want to check, what is the level of self-organization? I mean, do I need to focus on this or not? Like, what kind of questions do you ask yourself?
So for the self-organization, I mainly focus on, it's like what they're sharing in the stand-ups. Sometimes teams come up, like someone come up and then share in the stand-up, okay, I done this yesterday, this I'm doing today, and this is my blocker. So can you remove this blocker to me? And that's it, done. Can I log off now or like go and then do my work? This is telling me definitely it's not a self-organized team. A self-organized team is something, it's like they listen to the whole team because they are in this mindset, yes, I have this one and then I want to understand what others are doing so that I can help if they have any blockers. And they are like proactive and then work on their blockers rather than waiting for a scrum master, waiting for the stand up, come for the stand up and then complain about a blocker. Rather than it, they work on that blocker and then try to unblock. If they're not unblocking, and then go to their team members and then work with them to see if they can unblock themselves rather than taking a support from a scrum master. If I see like the behavior like this in a stand up, I observe, okay, this is the area I need to work on. They are definitely not a self-organized team. I need to work on this to help them to reach into a position where they can help one another. Some of the tips I learned or I used, it might be a simple one. It's like if I have a visualization board, say a Scrum board, physical board are in a situation now we are in an online board. Even if it's a Scrum, I always try to put like work in progress limits, which helps me. It's like teams definitely, if they have a work in progress, they see, okay, it's already 2 is our work in progress, 2 already there, so I can't take a new one. Then they start thinking where I can help rather than picking a new ticket. In that way, they slowly change in their mind itself to start supporting others. Sometimes we force, say you need to work, but sometimes if you do little things like this, they themselves start thinking rather than someone need to push them to think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the tip about the work in progress limits is great, right? Like, because the reaction of the team members to that limit, to having reached that limit, is very telling about their ability to help each other and even their willingness to help each other. That's a great tip, by the way. So everyone out there, work in progress limits are not just process improvements. They are also team building improvements that we can use. It was a great story and a great set of tips. Thank you for sharing that with us, Madhuri.
Thank you. Thank you, Oscar.
Part of a successful Scrum Master job is to help the product owner. Tomorrow we explore that critical role in Scrum, the product owner role. Tune in to learn about product owner anti-patterns, what you can do to help the product owner, and a real-life example of what a great product owner is and what made it so. Tomorrow on our Friday Product Owner episode. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.